Hey, thanks for stopping by. My name is Tyler, and today we are 3 days away from taking the AZ-900 certification exam. If you guys are new here, that is the Microsoft Fundamentals certification. So I wanted to hop on, make a video, talk about what I've done to study very, very briefly. That is not the focus of this video, but talk about what I'm going to be using my last 3 days to do, and then also talk about how I'm feeling about the exam after studying for it pretty thoroughly. Okay, so kicking things off, I want to go ahead and just give a super brief overview of what I've done so far to prepare. So, real quick, I started off by watching the Udemy course by Scott Duffy. First time was just watching through, no notes, nothing crazy, just kind of getting a good feel for the topics on the exam. After watching that, I went ahead and read through the study guide. This one is written by Steve Miles. So went ahead, went through that. After that, I went back to Udemy and watched Scott Duffy's course again. But this time I took notes. I actually went ahead and published a full notes document. It is posted on my LinkedIn as a PDF if you guys want to download it. It's not like super in depth. I don't expect it to really be a popular resource, but I took notes on it mostly just to help myself retain information. So I figured if I'm going to take notes, I might as well share them with you guys. So went ahead and did that. After that, I went ahead and did the Microsoft Learn modules. I kind of did those throughout the other activities, but went ahead and went through all of the Microsoft Learn modules associated with the AZ-900. And that pretty much brings us up to yesterday. So yesterday I did my first few practice tests. I did one off of Udemy off Scott Duffy's course and scored, I believe, an 88 first try. And then the second practice test I did was straight off the Microsoft Learn website, so from Microsoft. And I think I got a 92 or a 93 on that. So after those two practice tests, I was like, okay, I should be pretty ready to take this exam. All right, so we kind of blew through those. Again, what I've done to study is not the focus of this video. After I pass this exam, I'll go through and do a little bit more in-depth review on some of my study materials and try to lay out a roadmap for you guys. But let's talk about the present, how I'm going to spend my next 3 days studying to optimize my chances of passing, and also how I'm feeling a little bit. So to kick things off, let's start by kind of talking about the exam and what I expect it to be and just how I'm feeling about it. So weirdly enough, I'm not super nervous for this exam. I always get a little bit nervous for these tests. If you guys have watched any of my videos where I'm a couple days out from an exam before, you'll know I'm pretty much a nervous wreck the week of. But for this one, I'm actually not nearly as nervous. The reason behind that is because the AZ-900 is a fundamental level exam, a lot of the exam objectives and practice questions I ran into were not on Azure specific things. Rather, they were on general cloud topics, which I have a very strong understanding of. So, really not worried about that part of this exam, which does make up a significant part of it. And that kind of leaves us with the Azure services as the other domains that you have to study in order to pass this test. And the nice thing about it being a fundamental level exam is even though you're going to be tested on a lot of services, it's not going to go super deep. You're not going to have to know a lot of the intricacies of the services. You just kind of have to know what they do broadly. So I'm not super worried about having to know a ton of intricacies for the services or even being able to really put together a good use case for a lot of these services yet, because that's just not what this exam really is testing on. It's more, do you know what the service does? Do you understand how it could be used? Very high level questions. Between that and my existing knowledge in cloud as a whole, I don't think it will be a super crazy difficult test. However, that doesn't mean I'm going to slack off for the next 3 days. Like any certification, it is not just like a walk in the park, regardless of if you study or not. These tests are always going to be at least a little bit tricky, some more than others. So with my last 3 days, I pretty much plan to just continue to do practice tests. I seem to understand the material well given my current practice test scores, and I figure seeing more questions and seeing more scenarios won't hurt me. So I'm going to go through. I have another practice test by Scott Duffy I haven't done yet. So I'm going to go ahead and do his second one. After that, I'm going to go ahead and buy the Tutorials Dojo practice tests. Haven't seen too much about them online, but I did use those practice tests for my Solutions Architect Associate, and they were, bar none, the best practice tests for that exam. So I figure the team over there knows what they're doing when it comes to building practice tests. And that pretty much wraps us up. I didn't have too much to say on this video, just wanted to let you guys know I was testing in a couple days and talk about how I was feeling and all of that fun stuff. Again, if you guys have any recommendations on practice tests or course material I should try to cram in the next few days, please drop it below. I am always open to recommendations, whether you've passed the certification or you're studying it. Regardless, I'm always open. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully, Sunday or Monday of this week, or Monday of next week, I'll be making a video talking about passing it, but there's always a chance I'll be making a video about failing it, so we'll see.